It happened again last week. In the words of the late, great Bert Sugar, boxing suffered another black eye, but it's running out of eyes to blacken.
With boxing's mega fights failing to be signed and sealed, it seems the sport has become a target for a new kind of market, one that effectively indulges its casual audience into viewing the utmost bizarre of matchups.
I'll watch the shit out of that.
I'll watch the shit out of it too.
And for boxing's ultimate money machine, it seemed to be one opportunity he's not willing to miss out on.
Let's make it happen. Yes, sir. Get the paperwork for this ball. Get out.
From the world's most notorious MMA fighter to an overambitious YouTuber, Floyd's return to the sport is becoming increasingly abnormal, possibly tarnishing his outstanding achievements he's secured within the sport.
Yeah, we'll tarnish it for sure.
So hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe as we join in on a common debate to whether Floyd Mayweather has overshadowed his legacy, all for that ultimate paycheck.
My name is Money Mayweather.
You know, I realized one thing. He fights for money. You know, he fights for, he wants to be the best.
I want to be the best. I want to be the best,
but he want to make sure that the money and the check is in there. So
it's no surprise to anyone that Mayweather's known for liking a dollar or two. But within more recent years, his antics for making money has gotten even wilder than we could possibly imagine, creating fights that deem minuscule risk to gain massive rewards.
I said, what you can exhibition for free? They said no, for, 7 figures.
The 50-0 superstar has managed to bag himself some of the biggest paychecks that most fighters could only dream of over the entirety of his career. And even dating back to that concluding night the gloves were hung up once and for all, it seemed it still wasn't enough to draw that final line.
He tip-top toes to a decision. He's never even fought a day in his life. He's a runner.
With the McGregor bout coming to fruition, the crossover fight between MMA star and boxing legend brought something new and anticipated to the table, even to those who belittled the matchup from the very beginning. And despite the showdown ending under expected circumstances, the mixed martial artist held a decent account of himself considering. But with the fight itself generating a substantial amount of money, it wasn't long until a whole new type of audience was drawn to the sport, inspired by a whole new type of fighter.
Who's ready for the biggest internet event in history?
JJ can keep that. That's a good uppercut. Down goes KSI, but
at first, the rise of YouTube boxing was just considered no more than a bunch of amateurs putting on entertainment for their subscribers. But with the success and attention it managed to generate, the opportunity for promoters to milk the opportunity was one that went into full swing pretty quickly.
You ducked me because you don't want to lose to a YouTuber.
Moving some of the standout names onto the pro scene, it unraveled a whole new element to boxing. After Logan's rematch of KSI, then brother Jake knocking out Anderson Gibb in a one-sided affair.
20,000 tickets sold out and 1.4 million pay-per-view buys later, I was interested in the rematch.
I don't really care, I'ma be a millionaire
Like they say, if it makes money, it makes sense. And where a group of non-boxers managed to make a significant paycheck on multiple occasions, the likelihood boxing's biggest money king would soon come knocking for a slice of the action himself was only to be expected.
Is this fight bad for boxing?
I think it is.
In a boxing match, it's going to be hilarious. Could you imagine if he clips Floyd Mayweather in a temple and you see Floyd Mayweather doing the chicken dance?
I don't want to say I'm the pioneer of exhibition, but what I want to say is, as far as the pioneer for getting crazy money for exhibition.
Being open to opinion, the upcoming collision between Floyd and Logan has been mind-boggling from the very start. Knowing Mayweather's past history as a fighter, it's been hard for true fans of the sport to witness and accept such events. And with eventful scenes in public like this one, it's hard to take things seriously at all.
Got your hat.
I don't really care, I'ma be a trillionaire
But what chance does the YouTuber really have? Before we even give it much thought, it already seems little to none. There's no doubt Logan has a clear size advantage, and it could be the first time we ever see a cruiserweight step in to face a welterweight. but in reality, it's a true boxer versus an online celebrity, and one that has only spent a brief period of time in boxing overall.
Look at me, I'm about to be rich.
For Mayweather, it'll likely just be another day in the office, seeing that the two men have such an obvious and extreme difference in level and experience. And though YouTube fans may take it seriously, boxing's purists will certainly not, especially after witnessing Floyd's last appearance in a boxing ring back in 2018.
And Mayweather drops him again! The speed of Money Mayweather.
Do you think that affects his legacy?
Yes, for sure, because the thing about it, people only remember the last thing you've done.
But even whilst facing low-risk opposition, a defeat or knockout at this point in Floyd's life would surely come with devastating consequences to legacy as well as mentally. And though it's highly unlikely, there's always that slight possibility that anything can happen in boxing.
You can't be 50-0, fighting some of the best fighters in the world and get knocked out by some kid.
15 world titles in 5 weight classes. Facing the very best his era had to offer, Floyd was always more than just an average fighter. But after his astonishing run beating the likes of dela, Hoya, Cotto, and Pac-Man, the snowball of victories didn't end there. The fight with Canelo had many see it as a career best performance. And when you think about it, a 36-year-old version of the Floyd compared to the one back then, it's hard to disagree.
I think he's so frustrated, he's trying to lure Floyd in, and then he wants to throw a big counter, but Floyd's not going to do it. Floyd will pot shot you all night.
Sublime right uppercut up the middle by Mayweather.
Seeing the likes of Alvarez flourish since his first meet, and now stand as a pound-for-pound great, does make you wonder what if. But with time rolling on, Money Mayweather will always take the smartest approach to an easy paycheck at this stage. And now being 44 years of age, taking the route that deems the safest will also be a priority to consider.
Any boxer that you would fight, say for 150 million.
Not enough. Absolutely not.
To conclude, it will always be down to individual opinion to whether these exhibition fights are detrimental to a fighter's legacy. But when we look back over a fighter's career as a whole, it's the nights that made history that count the most. And with all the wins and dominant performances over past champions, it's Floyd's reign itself that will always rule supreme.